Danny Segura for MMA Junkie. I'm here with Bo Nickal, who's set to make his pro debut in June 3rd at Icon Fighting Federation. Bo, first of all, how are you, man? A lot to talk about. Big news for your MMA career. First of all, how are you? How are things?
Oh, I'm doing great. Things are going well. Just lucky to be, training every day, doing what I love. And yeah, I'm really excited for my pro debut. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. And last time I spoke to you, you were helping Jorge Masvidal get ready for his fight against Colby Covington. And you were telling me how like you were gonna maybe do one fight, possibly two, before you turn pro, maybe angling turning pro, maybe sometime early next year. What changed? Because it seemed like you wanted at least one more amateur fight before going pro. So, talk to me about the decision of going pro at this point of your career.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to get another amateur fight if the timing worked out and if I was able to, you know, get a fight when I wanted to. But I felt like for my development and the way that I'm progressing, it made sense to turn pro. If I could have got a fight in March or April, amateur, it would have been great. But at this point, with this fight coming up in June, I didn't really feel the need to delay my pro debut any longer, and I felt ready to compete at that level, and yeah, to start my career off. So at that point, I've been training since this past August, so it'll be 10 months, close to a year, and I feel ready to take that next step.
Yeah, what I guess if you can pinpoint some of the things, like what exactly are some of the indicators that like you feel or you see through your development that you go, okay, it's time. Like I'm ready to do this.
I think just my comfort level and my training and the way that I feel when I'm sparring rounds and stuff. Obviously, being able to go down to ATT in Coconut Creek and train with Masvidal, train with guys like Johnny Eblin, Roman Feraldo, and then work with Mike Brown and um, you know different coaches out there. That really I feel like was a good indicator of whether or not I'm ready to go and take that next step. I think where I'm at right now in State College at my gym, we have a lot of tough guys, but the guys down at ATT in Florida just have so much experience. We're all pretty new and green up here. So being able to go down there, see where I'm at, see how I handle, pressure against guys that have, a lot of experience and have been, in big fights and pro cards. That's like something that I felt like was really good for me and just was like kind of at this point like gave me confidence that I'm ready to move to that next level.
Yeah. And we're not too far away from the fight. So when this got announced and you were able to make your pro debut and kind of get the announcement for it, did it feel like you have enough preparation for the fight?
Yeah, I don't really ever like take, I mean, I take time away, but it's all strategic and planned. So, I've been ready to go. I was ready to go in April. At that point, I just kind of took like a few days off, took some time off to reset. And so I've been basically in camp, ready to go since then. So my training is, I'm getting ready to peak. I'm at this point, um, 3 weeks to the fight, just tuning everything up, making sure that everything's where it needs to be. All my techniques are sharp. I feel good. I'm healthy. So yeah, that the fight announcement was fairly recent, but I've been training and preparing for this for a while. So yeah, I'm 100% ready
Yeah.
to go.
And this might be a silly question, and I feel like I already know the answer to it, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Being a pro fight, you there?
Sorry, say that again.
Cool. Yeah. No, no worries. I thought I lost you for a second. Um, and I said, I was saying, being a pro fight, do you train harder? Do you have to change anything in your training camp, or is it the same thing as if you were fighting amateur?
Yeah, it's the same. I feel like I've been a professional really since I graduated high school and came to Penn State to compete in college wrestling. I've treated my athletic career as my profession, and so you know I think I'm a little different than most fighters in that aspect, where they maybe started fighting amateur and they were fighting part time and working part time, doing stuff like this.
Right.
For me, it's always been full time. This is what I do. I wake up every day. I eat. I train. I watch film, I study it. I love the sport. I love to learn. And so this is my craft, my profession, what I do. So for me, nothing really changes in that regard. I'm just continuing to get better every day. And, right now with it being so fresh and new, I have a lot to learn, a lot to improve on, and that's exciting for me. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just continuing to try to get a little bit better each day and climb the ladder.
Are there any differences between, I think there must be, right? Between amateur and professional in terms of the rule set?
Yeah, yeah. So obviously a big one is no shin guards
Right. Yeah.
and elbows and knees to the head. So going to be able to smash my elbow into somebody's face. That's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. That's definitely a big advantage for me. I feel like the pro rule set is a lot more favorable to me and my style. I'm sorry, like I just keep getting random calls, but
Oh,
anyways,
good.
yeah, I feel like it's favorable for me, and yeah, I'm excited to be able to do to use all these different techniques. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, so that's a big one as far as the rule set of being allowed to throw elbows while you're on the ground. Being a wrestler, I assume like that's huge. I know your amateur fights went fairly quick and you had finishes, but did you ever feel like the need, or at least in training or maybe in the actual fights of like, hey, I could sneaking an elbow here, but I kind of have to hold myself back?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that it's like when you're on top of somebody in the guard, like being able to throw elbows is huge. Yeah, and I think like in my fights, in my actual fights, like they've just been fast. Like I haven't really been able to utilize a ton of techniques just because they've both been like a minute long. But yeah, in training, a lot of times, I think for me, I think that your training is going to represent what you're going to do in the fight. So I try to keep it consistent, make sure that I can use all my different techniques. So even when I was um, getting ready for my amateur fights, I was still using elbows, practicing that stuff, ground and pound and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, now it's just like, all right, let's do it. We're ready to go for real.
Yeah, for sure. And most of your training camp you're gonna do up north, right? You're not gonna come back to South Florida?
Yeah, I'll be in State College for my whole training camp. This is my home. This is my base. So I love it out here. I have great coaches, great partners, and everything I need. So as well as keeping my wrestling sharp. So I'm working with the Nittany Line Wrestling Club at Penn State, and training with them about every day and making sure that still stays at world class level. So for me, it just makes sense to be out here. I think that once I'm done with this fight, I'll probably go down to Florida again to just get rounds with guys and do some more training. But for my training camp, yeah, it'll be up here the whole time.
Yeah. And I saw a video on Fight Pass, I think it was, or it might have been like the UFC's YouTube channel, but like the installations that you guys have up there for the MMA gym look pretty sweet, right? Like it's like brand new.
Yeah, man, it's super nice. So we just finished building it out this past August. Very thankful and grateful to be able to train in an awesome facility. Big shout out to Dan Lambert. He's the one that uh, made this whole project happen and was able to, support it. So, always grateful to Dan that he believes in me and believes in, all the people that we have here in State College, and this wrestling uh, tradition and foundation that we have is just, really gonna, I think, in my mind, be the standard for the coming years, the next 5-10 years in MMA. Like we're gonna have a lot of champions coming out of this gym, and it's just we're proud to be American top team and represent ATT and represent Penn State.
Yeah. And I know Penn State, probably out of all the big wrestling schools, has like I don't know if maybe a tradition, but maybe like a tendency for a lot of standouts to go into MMA. I can't remember many off the top of my head, but I know Phil Davis obviously being one of them. You as well. Who else is in should be on that list that I might not be remembering?
Yeah, so obviously Phil's a guy that is super high level, has been super high level MMA fighter for a long time. He was a national champ at Penn State. I've had conversations with Phil on the phone. He's been able to give me a lot of guidance and stuff. And another guy was Ed Ruth.
Right.
Ed had a lot of success in Bellator, and won a lot of fights, and was obviously an incredible wrestler, 3-time national champ. And now we have myself coming up, and then moving into the future, we'll have a bunch of young guys that I just think are going to be absolute killers. Roman Bravo Young, Aaron Brooks, Carter Strachey, Greg Kirkfleet are the young guys on the team right now. And then, even I guess before them, we'll have Anthony Cassar, heavyweight national champion. He'll be fighting hopefully by the end of this year. So I feel like, Penn State is going to be, MMA university in a sense. And, it's just a perfect transition for all of our guys to be able to train at ATT out here and have access to the gym down in Coconut Creek. So, without a doubt, I think that we're going to really take over the MMA world and show them what we're about.
Yeah, for sure. When were those conversations with Phil? Recently or a while back?
A while back. So, I just more so talked with him about development and entering into MMA and, how to handle myself, not necessarily specifically in regards to like training, but more so like in approaching MMA in like a business mindset and, how to manage my own career and things to keep in mind. But he gave me a lot of good advice.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the biggest things that you took from those conversations?
I think just understanding like what opportunities the sport brings outside of obviously, the specific athletic competition. There's a lot of eyes in MMA and a lot of people watching, and with that comes a lot of opportunity to give yourself a better life and different opportunities in business and sponsorships and stuff like that. So Phil's a guy that is super charismatic, super personable, and everybody that meets him pretty much loves him. So I think that for him, he just imparted a lot of wisdom on me as far as like how to create relationships that are synergistic and positive, and that will help build your career outside of just your athletic endeavors.
Yeah, most definitely. And this fight that is coming up here on June 3rd on Jorge Masvidal's Icon Fighting Federation event. This is going to be at 185, but is that going to be your weight class? I guess your fixed weight class in this sport?
So, I mean, at this point, 185 will be where I'm at. I don't plan on fighting another weight class in the near future. Once my career is established and I've ran through the division and taken out everybody that there is, then I could see myself moving up. So, but for me right now, I have total 100% focus on this weight class. There's a ton of guys that have more experience than me, more fights, more championships. And so, right now I'm working on taking those guys out one by one. So, for me, that's the focus. I'm not worried about, anybody at different weight classes, but I could see in the future that could change and I could move up, because I feel like, the goal is to dominate my weight class. And then after that, just reevaluate.
Yeah. What weight class were you wrestling at? What was that at?
So I kind of bounced around. My junior year of college, I was at 184, and then my senior year, I wrestled 197. So, and then for the Olympics, I did 86 kilos, which is 189 pounds. So I've always been between about 184 and 197 is the highest that I've competed at. But actually, that's not true. I also competed at 97 kilos, which is 213. So I've competed up to 213 pounds before. But yeah, I mean, I feel good at 85. I'm 6'1". I'm about 205 pounds. So when coming down to 85 for me isn't like crazy hard, but I'm big at the weight and I'm strong at the weight. So right now that's where I feel good, but I definitely have the frame to be able to go up to 205 pretty easily. I mean, I could get up to 210, 220 fairly quickly. I believe that.
How sweet is it to not have to compete the same day of weigh-ins? Because that's a big change, right?
Huge change. It's wild. It's a crazy difference. I mean, it's probably not as big for me because I never really was a big weight cutter. Some of these guys in wrestling still cut a ton of weight and, have to wrestle 2 hours later. For me, like I said, my senior year of college, I wrestled 197 and I would finish a workout about on weight. So just like a regular workout on a Monday, I would be, about on weight. So that was something where it was never really a big focus for me, but it's definitely nice being able to weigh in the day before and have all that time to recover, rehydrate and everything, and get back to up to 198, 199 pounds. I'm feeling strong. So yeah, I mean, right now I have a good team around me. I use the training lab, Sam Calavita. He does my strength conditioning
Okay,
and my
nice. Yeah.
all my nutrition. So I have he helps me with all of my weight cut and everything that I need to do to feel great there. And yeah, my process has been continuously improving, and yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah. By the way, are you like on a ketogenic diet or anything similar? Because I see your Instagram, and I'm always like, ooh, I wonder if that's what it is.
No keto. I just pretty much I just eat a lot of meat. Like
Okay,
I love
but it's low
steak.
carb, right? Like you don't
Yeah,
have that many carbs.
not really. I mean, I'll eat potatoes, I'll eat rice, stuff like
Okay.
that. So, it's definitely probably lower carb for like an average person. But I think I still eat carbohydrates. Think it's important, but yeah, the main thing I focus on is like just protein and fats and getting good healthy source of that.
Yeah. And a couple more questions, and I appreciate your time. Your opponent, John Noland, what do you make of him? Have you gotten a chance? I know when you're starting to, when you're starting off in your professional career, it's probably hard to find tape on these guys. But wondering if you've seen him fight before, and what do you make of him?
Yeah, I watched a little tape on him. That I think that he's had some experience. I think he was 6-3 amateur, so he
Hmm.
has about 5 times as many fights as me. So he's got a lot of fights. But yeah, I think that he definitely comes in, and he has a lot of techniques he likes to use. He mixes it up mostly on the feet from what I've seen. But yeah, I'll be looking, approaching it the same as I would any fight, where I'm looking to go out and dominate every second. I'm not gonna give an inch. I'm not gonna take anything lightly or for granted. I'm gonna go out there to smash him the whole time, and whether
Yeah.
that takes 10 seconds or whether it takes 15 minutes, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just gonna be looking to finish him the whole entire fight. But yeah, I mean, I think that I respect him. Just the fact that he's willing to take this fight says a lot about him. I think that means he's a tough guy and he believes in himself. So that's very cool of him, and I'm very grateful that he accepted the fight, because a lot of people I'm sure would turn it down. But yeah, same thing as anybody. I respect my opponent in there. Anybody can hurt you. Anybody can land a shot. So for me, it's all business, no emotion. I'm just going to go in there and look to finish the whole time.
Yeah. And last question. Last time we spoke, you made it no secret that you wanted to be in the UFC. That's your ultimate goal, no pun intended, and that you wanted to be the best of the best, pound for pound. Like you really want to reach the pinnacle of the sport. Pretty quick transition from amateur to pro. So I know it's hard to predict, but more or less, how far do you think that is? Like how fast do you think you're gonna advance now that you're pro?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a rush. I don't think that I need to rush this process. I'm looking to take it one step at a time and continue to grow as a person and as a competitor, as a fighter. So for me, the goal remains the same. UFC champ, pound for pound, number one guy on the roster. I want to be the best fighter on the planet, and I think that I think that'll happen inside of 5 years. So for me, it's just continuing to work every single day with that on my mind. It doesn't matter if I'm in an amateur fight, if I'm making my pro debut, or if I have 10 pro fights, 15, 20 pro fights. Like, that's always my goal. That's always on my mind. I'm looking to go out and dominate. I'm looking to go win. I feel like I'm a winner. That's what I'm born to do. And so, yeah, the goal remains the same. It doesn't matter what part of my career I'm in, but, for me to try to predict that, I would say within 5 years that that's what's going to happen.
For sure. Well, looking forward to it. Also looking forward to your pro debut on June 3rd on Icon Fighting Federation. It's going to be a great event in Richmond, Virginia. Bo, I appreciate the time and best of luck in your pro debut.
Absolutely. Thanks, my man. Appreciate you having me on.